Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Learning Tree Reading Fairs, day one. We're all going to be reading different books for 10 days. However, people can join us, and anyone is welcome to get a ticket on Eventbrite or to just email us your email address to community library.ms@gmail.com. And I'm Meredith McGee, the organizer of 93 Reading Fair. Okay, Thailand.
Hello everyone, my name is Talia Hines. My school is I go to James Smith Elementary School. I am 11 years old and I'm going to the 5th grade.
Thank you.
And hello, my name is Mary Hardy. I'm from Greenville, Mississippi, a retired educator, relaxing this summer because I do some part-time teaching during the regular school year. I'm hosting my grandchildren this week, having a relaxed time with them. I am the owner of the book gallery, the only African-American, only bookstore in Greenville, Mississippi. And I am enjoying my summer.
Fabulous. Okay, so you're going to start us off, Mayor?
I can. I am going to read Crossing Boca Cheetah. And I'll read the little synopsis of a little blurb of the book first. It's a haunting story of family and friendship. There's a river called Boca Cheetah that cuts through Mississippi. In the days before the war between the states, in the days before the Trail of Tears, Boca Cheetah was a boundary. On one side of the river lived the Choctaws, a nation of Indian people. On the other side lived the plantation owners and their slaves. If a slave escaped and made his way across Boca Cheetah, the slave was free. The slave owner could not follow. That was the law. Martha Tom, a young Choctaw girl, knows better than to cross the river. But one day, in search of blackberries, she disobeyed her mother and finds herself on the other side. Thus begins a story about 7 slaves who crossed the big river to freedom, led by a Choctaw angel walking on water. So I'll read a bit about Boca Cheetah, crossing Boca Cheetah, a Choctaw tale.
Can you hold up the cover of the book?
Well, I'm on my phone. I don't know whether that will do.
Oh, I see. Oh, I can see it.
You see it?
So this book is about Indians who were enslaved?
No, the Indians were not enslaved. The Boca Cheetah River ran through the areas. The slaves lived on one side of the river, and the Choctaw Indians lived on the other side.
Okay.
The Choctaw Indians could cross and come back. But if the slaves, they were forbidden to cross. But if they crossed and were successful crossing, they were free.
Okay.
So, and that river is still, it's a river located in South Mississippi.
Yes.
I'm not sure exactly, but it's in the Macomb, Mississippi area. And it still exists. I've always heard about that river.
Yeah, I have too. I think seen it in passing going towards New Orleans or going through
New
that way.
Orleans, yeah,
Mm.
you will. You'll see it passing
Mm.
New Orleans. But a friend of mine gave me the first copy, and he said the book is very hard to get. But I was able to. I read some, and then I said, well, I need it for myself, so I've ordered it. It's a used book, but it looks like it hasn't been used. Okay. So would you like for me to read a page or two?
Yes, please.
Okay. So there was a river called Boca Cheetah that cuts through Mississippi. In the days before the war between the states, in the days before the Trail of Tears, Boca Cheetah was a boundary. On one side of the river lived the Choctaws, a nation of Indian people. On the other side lived the plantation owners and their slaves. If a slave escaped and made his way across Boca Cheetah, the slave was free. The slave owner could not follow. That was the law. So if they crossed, the slave owners couldn't follow them, and they were free. One Sunday morning during this time, a Choctaw mama woke her daughter up. Martha Tom, the sun has been up for 2 hours. Get up and put your dress on, you lazy little girl. I have a wedding to cook for today. Take this basket and fill it with berries. Now hurry back. When Martha Tom couldn't find berries on the Choctaw side of the river, she did something she'd been told never to do. She went crossing Boca Cheetah. The only way to cross Boca Cheetah in those days was a stone path just beneath the surface of the river. Only the Choctaws knew it was there, for the Choctaws had built it. When the river flooded, they built the stones up. When the river sank in times of drought, they built the stones down, always just beneath the muddy surface of the water. So the path, the stone was always so they could tell where the path was. So on this day, Martha Tom couldn't find berries on her side of the river. So she somehow wandered to the other side where the slaves lived. Martha Tom found a patch of blackberries on the slave side of the river. She filled her basket, then looked to the sky for the sun to lead her home. But it was cloudy and she was lost. Martha Tom thought she was approaching the river, but instead, she was walking still deeper into the woods. She came upon a stump covered with grapevines. Before her lay a clearing filled with logs, rolled out as if they were benches. Martha Tom saw someone coming and dove into the vines. A skinny black man with a cane stepped out of the trees. While Martha Tom watched, he climbed onto the stump and called out, "We are bound for the promised land." So I guess being slaves, they were there, and they were always searching for a way to leave that area. So what happened next would change Martha Tom's life forever. Though she saw No one. 100 voices came in reply, like spirit voices whispering, "We are bound for the promised land." The old man called out again, "We are bound for the promised land." Once again, she heard the voices, human voices this time. Closer and closer they came calling, "We are bound for the promised land." The old man bowed his head and said, "Oh, who will come and go with me?" 100 slaves replied, stepping from behind the trees and rising up with the bushes where they were hiding. "We will come and go with you. We are bound for the promised land." So I'm not sure whether they were real or whether they were spirits. Sounds like they were spirits. Don't know.
So it was 100 of them that decided to, but it sounds like an Indian was inviting them to come to freedom.
Well, maybe Martha Tom in some way had invited them, but she was lost. So I'm not sure whether it was a ritual or whether they had been invited to go. So it says, it was the calling together of the forbidden slave church. Oh, it was that they were not supposed to be having church, but they were doing it. It was the calling together of the forbidden slave church, deep in those Mississippi woods. The old man began to preach, and the people began to sing. Martha Tom had never heard music like this before, but it touched her deeply. Then something else touched her on the shoulders, touched her on the shoulder. She looked up to see the biggest man she had ever seen. His chest so big, it was about to pop his buttons off his shirt. "You are lost, little girl," he said in a deep voice that seemed to smile. "You are Choctaw from across Boca, Cheetah." Martha Tom nodded. "What is your name, little girl?" "Martha Tom." So they were having church, forbidden church.
On the Choctaw side?
On the slave side.
Oh, okay.
Because she had wandered over there. She when she was looking for the blackberries, she couldn't find any on her side. So somehow she wandered to the slave side.
Okay.
Now she could go back. Now she'd wandered over there, and so she could go back home, but she was lost. And while being lost, she is wandering into these people that are having church, forbidden church. "Well, Martha Tom, I'll get my son to take you back to the river. You can find your way home from there." "Lil Mo," he called. A boy appeared. "Lil Mo, this girl is lost. She is Choctaw from across Boca Cheetah. Take her to the riverbank and she can get home from here." "Daddy, I better not do that," Lil Mo said. "The men from the plantation house told us if the children are seen playing near the river, our whole family will get in trouble." His father knelt down to Lil Mo and said, son, it's about time you've learned. There is a way to move amongst them where they won't even notice you. It's like you are invisible. You move not too fast, not too slow, eyes to the ground. Away you go. Now give it a try and get this little girl home. So this father is risking his child, his son, to get this little girl home. Now, if he goes and gets her home, he is free if he crosses. So maybe that's what the daddy is telling him. All right, I'll read a few more pages.
Okay.
Well, it sounded like a fun game to play. So Little Mo took Martha Tom by the hand and off they went, just as Little Mo's daddy had taught him. Not too fast, not too slow, eyes to the ground, away you go. They skirted the plantation house and walked right in front of the porch where the owners were doing their sipping and sighing that Sunday morning, but no one paid them any mind. We must be invisible, thought Lil Mo. So there's a picture of them sitting on the, can you see it? The plantation.
Okay. Oh, you mean where the window is or the field?
Yeah, they're sitting on the plantation's owners are sitting on the porch, and Lil Mo and the Choctaw girl are passing, and they don't see them.
Hold it up a little bit. Okay.
You see?
Oh, I see.
I'm on my phone.
I know.
So they are invisible. They soon arrived at the river, and it was Martha Tom's turn to lead. She took Lil Mo to the path, but he couldn't see the stones beneath the muddy water. This would be a fun game to play, she thought. She walked 5 paces back to get a good running start, then leaped to the river. Lil Mo reached out to grab her dress as she flew by to keep her from drowning. When Martha Tom landed in the river, she stood up. Little girl, what kind of witch are you? Lil Mo cried. Martha Tom laughed. I'm not any kind of witch. You can do it too. Come on. She took Lil Mo by the hand, and together the two of them went crossing Boca Cheetah to the Choctaw side. So he has crossed. Even before they stepped from the stones to the earth, Lil Mo heard the sound of chanting. He thought it must be the heartbeat of the earth itself. It was the old men calling the Choctaws to the wedding ceremony. Martha Tom and Lil Mo looked down the street of log homes as Choctaw women stepped out of every doorway. Their white cotton dresses skimmed the ground, and their shiny black hair fell well below their waist. The women formed a line and began a stump dance to the beat of the chanting, gliding to a clearing at the end of town. When they reached the clearing, they formed 2 circles, the women and the men, and the wedding ceremony began. The old men began to sing the old wedding song. It is still sung today in Mississippi and Oklahoma, just as they sang it then. And I can't sing it now. Way, yay, hey, way, yay, way, yay, way, yay. You hey, 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 you hey, 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 yay, hey, yay, yay, hey. Lil Mo had never heard music like this before, but it touched him deeply. Let me read one more page and I'm going to stop. Then something else touched them both on the shoulder. It was Martha Tom's mother. Little girl, you have been crossing Boca Cheetah. Now, I'm not mad at him, but you take him to the river and come right back and give me those blackberries. You are in for it now. Martha Tom knew her mother could cackle like a mad cow, a mad crow on the outside, while inside she would coo like a dove with love for her daughter. She took little Mo to the river and showed him how to cross it on his own. And so began a friendship that would last for years. So she didn't keep him. He didn't stay. But he was considered free once he crossed over. But her mother asked her to take him back. So let me read another page. Every Sunday morning, Martha Tom would cross Boca Cheetah on her way to church. She sat with little Mo's family now. She listened to the preaching and she sang the songs in English. Then every evening she would sing them in Choctaw as she went crossing Boca Cheetah on her way home. So she continued to go over and visit. And so that's how we are, why we are friends with the Choctaws.
Well, a lot of us are part Choctaw. They're from
A
Mississippi.
born Choctaw, yeah.
Yeah, part,
And-
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, did you ever get to the end of the book? Did anybody ever cross over to freedom?
Yeah, I've read it. I mean, I can't tell you exactly what goes on, but I did.
I spoiled it, no way. But you might read the rest of it tomorrow.
Let's see, tomorrow is Wednesday. I should be able to read. If I don't get a chance to 2 o'clock, I should be. You want me to go on and read it?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so I guess I have to be off. Yeah, let's see. Let me read a little bit more. Then one day, trouble came. It always does. In stories or in life, trouble comes. There was a slave trade, and 20 slaves were sold. They were to leave for New Orleans the very next day before sunrise. The men from the slave households were called together to listen to the names being read. Little Mo's mother was on that list. As he walked home, Little Mo's father wondered how to tell his family what had happened. He decided to let them have their last meal in peace. When the children stood to clear the table, he mentioned for them to be seated. Feeling his knees grow weak, he said, "Your mother has been sold." And he has tears in his eyes. That's Little Mo's mother. "No," she cried. The tears seemed to squirt down her cheeks. The children looked at their parents and began to cry. They had never seen their mother and father like this. "This is our last evening together," he said. "Stop your crying. I want every one of you to find something small and precious, something to give your mother to remember you by, something she can hide, something they can't take away. Now get up and help your mother pack. You will not see her again." No one moved. Then Lil Mo pulled his father's sleeve and said, "Daddy, there is a way we can stay together. We can go crossing Boca Cheetah. Martha Tom told me how. Son, they'll have the dogs guarding the river tonight to prevent a crossing. Daddy, we can go just like you taught me. Not too fast, not too slow, eyes to the ground. away you go. We'll be invisible, Daddy. We'll have to give it a try. For the first time that day, hope filled the father's heart. You are right, son. We have to give it a try. All right, let's see what happens. He grabbed 7 burlap sacks and gave one to each member of his family, saying, pack quickly, pack light, and pack for running. We may have to. They did pack quickly. They packed light, but they were not quick enough. The men in the plantation house saw them working late. They called for the guards with the dogs and the lanterns and the guns, and they surrounded that little house. When little Mo's daddy stood with his family around him, he looked out the back door and said, we could go out that way. It would be dark and maybe safer. But this night's journey is not about darkness and safety. It's about faith. It's about freedom. We will go out the front door. And so they did.
May I
Out
ask
the
you a
front-
question?
Yes.
Can you describe a burlap sack? I've seen a picture of it, but what it's made? It's made out of wool.
I'm not sure whether it's made out of wood, but it's like strings woven together.
Like wool.
Yeah, like wool, but it doesn't have the feel of wool. You know, with my book, Uncle Hubbard and the Burlap Sack,
Yes.
I have small burlap sacks that I sell along with the book. But it's, yes, I would say it's wool, but it doesn't have the feel of wool. It has the feel of ribbon. Like
But it's something that they can put their belongings in and hold it and swing it across their back. That's what I'm imagining.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that the same thing that they put cotton in?
Yeah. Well, no, they use the burlap sacks for packaging peanuts, potatoes. The cotton sacks were not burlap sacks. They were more of a canvas-like sack. So there's a different texture between a burlap sack and a cotton sack.
Oh.
Like sometimes the children pick cotton in burlap sacks, but the burlap sacks have fine holes in them. The regular cotton sacks have no holes. Okay. I'm at home. Let's see. No, I don't have a burlap sack at home. I don't believe, but
okay.
There's a real difference between a burlap sack and a cotton sack. The burlap sack, the burlap sack has holes in it. So when they gather their peanuts, they put their peanuts in those sacks so they can breathe a little bit and still, get dry.
Oh, but because I read a story that somebody actually made a dress out of a burlap sack in a book one time.
Well, you could probably make a dress, but it will ravel. You have to double stitch it to make a dress out of it.
Okay.
So do you want me to continue?
Yes, we want to hear the end now. You just got us going.
Okay, so it's more about faith, it's about freedom, and they decided they would go out the front door. And so they did, out the front door, down the front steps, walking just as little Mo had reminded them. Not too fast, not too slow, eyes to the ground, away you go. Then something remarkable happened. This family became invisible. They walked into the circle of lanterns, but the light shone right through them. They walked so close to the dogs, they could have stroked the dog's fur. But even the dogs did not know they were there. They were invisible. Soon they stood on the banks of Boca Cheetah. Little Mo looked to the clouds, covering the moon, and said, "Daddy, I've never been here at night. I can't get across." His father picked up little Mo and sat him on his hip till their faces almost touched. "Soon the hour is at hand," he said. "You know what we call you. We know that we call you Little Mo, but you know that is not your real name. Your name is Moses. Now, Moses, get us across that river." Moses leapt down and ran to the river. He dipped his arms into the chilly waters till he found the stone path. Quick as a bird, he flew across the stone and burst into Martha Tom's house, or into Martha Tom's home. "I'm sorry, I know it's late," he said, "but we are trying to cross the river. The men are after us. The men with the dogs and the lanterns and the guns. Can you help us?" Martha Tom's mother jumped out of bed and talked as she dressed. "Son, run to your family and hide them in the bushes near the path. Go now, run. You'll know when to come across. Go, I have work to do." She went to every home in that village, pushed open the doors and called inside, "Women, put on your white dresses, bring a candle and meet me at the river. We're having a ceremony tonight, the crossing kind." And so it came to pass. The guards stood on the slave side of the river with their dogs and lanterns and guns. Suddenly they saw emerging from the white fog on the Choctaw side what looked to them like a band of angels. The angels carried candles that cast a halo glow in the fog around their faces. Rising from the bushes and coming to life in front of them, the guards saw 7 runaway slaves. They lifted their guns to fire. They never shot their guns that night. For stepping out of the band of angels, they saw the most beautiful little angel of them all. Her right hand held a candle. Her left hand was outstretched, and she was walking on the water. Martha Tom was singing a song she had learned at the slave church. Now they sang it in Choctaw. And I can't sing it. Nitaka is Taka Pigmano, Kisses Us Minit, Umala Halapara, Chikot Arya Laka. We are bound for the promised land. She took little Mo by the hand. He took his mother. She took the children. They took their father. And together, all 7 of them went crossing Boca Cheetah. When they reached the Choctaw side of the river, they blew the candles out and disappeared into the fog, never to be seen on the slave side again. The descendants of those people still talk about that night. The Choctaws talk about the bravery of that little girl, Martha Tom. The Black people talk about the faith of that little boy, Moses. But maybe the white people still tell it best. They talk about the night their forefathers witnessed 7 Black spirits walking on the water to their freedom. And that's the end.
I'm so glad you went to the end, because at the middle I was like, wow, I want to know what's going to happen.
Okay. So they were able to cross Boca Cheetah with the help of Mo's friend, Martha Tom.
You know, I can say God don't make no mistakes. The
They
Indian child and the enslaved African had a friendship, and then their family was going to be destroyed when they was going to sell the mother away. And that friendship led 7 people to
That's
freedom.
right.
That was a
That's right.
wonderful story. Charlie Ann, you have any comments or questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank
All
you
right.
all for listening. Thank you. Thank you for listening. I was afraid I wouldn't be able to get on because I have an errand to, and I need to get up and get dressed.
Okay.
So, thank
Well,
you.
thank you for that story. And
Thank you.
see you next time.
Yeah, thank you for you all for listening. And I'll
Okay.
try to get on tomorrow.
Okay, then. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Good luck.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Charlie Ann, you next.
Today I'm going to be reading Beauty and the Beast.
Okay.
Once upon a time, in a faraway land, a young prince lived in a shiny castle. All through he had everything his heart desired. The prince was spoiled, selfish, and unkind. One weather night, an old beginner woman came to the castle and offered him a single rose in return the shelter from the bitter cold. Repulsed by her anger appeared, the prince swore at the gift and turned the old woman away. The woman warned him not to be selfish by appearing, for beauty is found within, and when he disabled her again. The old woman under this melts away. To reveal a beauty unchanged, the prince tried to apologize, but it was too late, for she had sinned that was no love in his heart. As punishment, the reception transforms the prince to a heinous beast. Then she placed a powerful spell on the castle and all who lived there. The rose she had offered was enchanted. It would bloom only until the prince was 21. If he could learn to love and be loved before the last petals fell, then the spell would be broken. If not, he would remain a beast for all times. As those years passed, the beast fell into despair. He did not believe that anyone could ever love him. Slowly, the rose began with whiner. In a nearby village, there lives a young girl named Belle. She was very beautiful and a little bit odd. She cared only for her books and always fell out of place. Her father, Maurice, was also a great reader. But while Belle reads about adventures and romance, her father studied chemicals books. Maurice was an inventor and genius according to Belle, a crackpot according to the town folk. Belle is even strange than her father. The villagers whisper, her nose is always in a book and her head is in the cloud. Gaston, the most handsome man in town, wanted to make Belle his wife, but she always turned him down. She thought he was a slow title bitter. One cold day, Maurice hitched his horse Pinfy in a wagon and sent him off to show his last invention at a fair on the other side of the woods. With their mind on the fair, Maurice got lost in the forest. An icy wind whistled through the trees, and he suddenly heard the howl of a wolf. Spooky, Philip blown, and Maurice was thrown to the ground. To escape the wolves, the frightened man ran deeper and deeper into the woods. At last, Rocco came to a castle and stumbled inside. There was a green by Mrs. Pot, the teapot, Cornworth with the metal clock, and literature the candle burn. But before he had time to marvel over these strange creatures, and even strange ones, appeared the beast. Marta stared at the beast in horror. The creature howled angrily and scooped Maurice up and carried him off to the dungeon. Meanwhile, Philip had made his way back home. Belle saw the riderless horse and knew something had happened to her father. Philip, take me to him, she cried, leaping across the adventurous horse. Philip gathered his strength and thundered off into the woods. When Bella reached the castle, she searched frantically for her father. The enchanted object led her to the tower, but just as she found Maurice, the beast appeared. Belle let out the terrific gasp. When she realized that he was Maurice Constable, Belle begged the beast to free her father, and she bravely offered herself in Maurice's place, and the beast accepted. He led her to her room before Belle could even bid her father goodbye. The castle is now your home, the beast said gustfully. Belle was free to go anywhere she liked except the west wing. The night Belle slipped out of the room and found her way to the four-bill west wing. She discovered the beast's foul lair, but he was not here in sight. Belle was drove to the enchanted rose she saw by the window. But when she reached out to touch it, the beast suddenly appeared at the window. Belle screamed and fell from the room. Belle ran out of the castle, mounted Philip, and escaped into the night, but a pack of wolves soon had the girl and the horse surrounded. Belle was helpless. Suddenly the beast appeared, a terrible swan and howl, surrounded as the beast and the wolves battled for their lives. At last the wolves ran off, leaving the beast badly injured. Belle knew she couldn't leave him there, so she brought the beast back to the castle and bounced his wound. Gentle as she was, the beast swore angrily. "I barely touched you," said Belle. Then she saw a look of pain on his face. "I forgot to thank you for saving my life," she added softly. The beast only grunted in reply, but her words touched him. In the day that followed, the beast tried to be a promised house to show Belle his library, where they read together, and she in return began to teach him how to act like a gentleman. But fire is too late. Clockwork whistled to Mrs. Pot and her son Chip, the teacup. If Belle could only love the beast, his dormant spell yet would be broken. The winter passed finally, but Belle and the beast. Belle thought of him as she dearly friend. He dreamed a bit by the beautiful Belle. One night, while Belle was showing him how to dance, the beast stuttered. "Belle, are you happy here with me?" "Yes," said Belle, but the beast saw a terrific of sadness in her eyes. Then Belle added, "If only I could see my father again, even for a minute." "Yes, you can," the beast said, handing her a magic mirror. Belle gasped into its wonder. She saw Maurice tumbling through the woods. She looked fearful and old. He looks fearful and old. Even as she watched her father collapse in a hill. "I must go to him," Belle cried. "He may be dying." "I'll release you," the beast said sadly. "But take the mirror, then you will always have a way to remember me." With the magic mirror up to guide her, Belle soon found her father and brought him back to the cotton, but their happily invention was cut short by a pound by the door. We come to take Maurice to Madison D's Luz announced, marching due direct to the village and stand him. No, Bella cried. My father isn't crazy. Gentle friend Louis stepped forward. Maurice has been revealed that you were imprisoned by a hopeless beast, he said. Only a crazy man would tell such a tale. But it's true, Belle posted. She searched the angry crowd and saw gasping. Gasping, she cried. You know my father isn't crazy. Tell them. Gasping told her that he might be able to calm the crowd if Belle would promise to marry him. Never, Belle isn't, and my father isn't crazy. There really is a beast and I could prove it. Look in the mirror and see. The crowd looked at the beast's reflection and grew fearless. Gates was fearless at Belle's refusal. We must hunt down this savage animal, he cried, staring up the moon. Who's with me? We are, answered the villagers. They locked Belle and her father into the cellar of their cotton and roamed off a storm the beast's castle. Lucky Chip, Mrs. Potts' son, had stormed away, and Bella Selable, he used Maurice's latest invention to release Belle and her father from the cellar. But the time Belle reached the castle, Jasper and the beast were in a mobile duel on the castle roof. The beast managed to knock Jensen Wilson from his hand, and there was nothing to stop him from killing Gasper, nothing but the beast's own humility. Gasper screamed for mercy, but the beast granted it and turned away from his phone. At once, he ungrateful Gas rose up and plugged a knife into the beast's back. The beast roared in pain for strength of Gas, who lost his footing and left off the roof into a fall below. Belle flew to the side to the beast's side. You came back, the beast said weakly. At least I got to see you one last time. No, Belle said softly as she kissed him. Please don't die. I love you. Instead that the spell was broken, and in a shower of enchanted rain, the beast became a handsome prince. Even the enchanted silver returned to their human forms. The castle came alive with rejoice as the young prince gathered Belle into his arms. Mrs. Pot, Cornwith, and Lynn had not one double that the loving couple will live happy ever after. The end.
Thank you. So, Talia, give us a summary of this. Really is a love story between a beast and Belle. Was Belle a princess?
Yes and no. She was actually kind of like an odd girl who was in the village who loved reading books like her father, and she became a princess until she married the prince.
Oh, he made her a princess. Well, she broke the spell.
Ma'am.
And how did she break the spell?
She gave him a true love kiss to break the spell, since he had to learn how to be unselfish and know how to love himself and others.
And she was reading books to him to teach him how to be loving, I guess. That's what you
Yes,
read.
ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, well, that's a very good story. So I'm gonna read some of mine. And the name of this author is Tony K. Bambara. You see it?
Yes, ma'am.
And this is it says the name of this book is Gorilla My Love. How about that? This is sound like this is a love story. I never read it. I just got it off the bookshelf for the Learning Tree Book Club. Now, you was a founding member of the Learning Tree Book Club at age 5. How old are you now?
11.
Wow. Bambara, Souls in Her Wake, Understanding, Humanity. This book is filled with both love and respect. Okay. The other books by Tony K. Bambara are The Black Woman, Tales and Short Stories for Black Folks, The Salt Eaters, The Seabirds Are Still Alive, Deep Sightings and Rescue Missions. And this is a collection of short stories published by Vintage Books in New York. Wow. The copyright started in 1960, and then 72 and 92. To the Johnson girls with the deepest and most compassionate love and respect. Okay, this is the preface. It does no good to write autobiographical fiction because the minute the book hits the stand, here comes your mama screaming, how could you? And sighing death, where is thy sting? And she snatches you up out your bed to grill you about what was going down back there in Brooklyn when she was working 3 jobs and trying to improve the quality of your life. And come to find out on page 42 that you were messing around with that boy up the block and breaks into sobs, and quite naturally, your family strolls in all sleepy eyed to catch the floor show at 5 a.m. But as far as your mama is concerned, it is 1940 and something, and you ain't too grown to have your butt whipped. And it's no use using bits and snatches even of real events and real people, even if you do cover guys, snatch around and change up. Because next thing you know, your best friend's laundry cart is squeaking past, but your bell ain't ringing. So you trot down the block after her, and there's this drafty cold pressure front the weatherman surely did not predict. And your friend says in this chilly way that it's really something when your own friend stabs you in the back with a pin, and for the next 2 blocks, you try to explain that the character is not her at all, but just happens to be speaking one of her lines. And right about the time you hit the laundromat and you're ready to just give it up and take the weight, she turns to you and says that seeing as how you have plundered her soul and walked off with a piece of flesh, the least you could do is spin off half the royalties somewhere. So I deal in straight up fiction myself because I value my family and friends, and mostly because I lie a lot anyway. Did you understand what she was just saying, Thailand? In the preface, she wrote a fiction book, and the people saw themselves in her Friday. Okay, so this is the first story. A man, okay, Bo Van, yes, Bo Vanning, something like that. Okay, blind people get a Harmon Jones if you notice, which is understandable completely once you've been around one and notice what no eyes will force you into to see people, and you get past the first time, which seems to come out of nowhere. And it's like you in church again with fat chest ladies and old gents wanting to hum low in the throat to whatever the preacher be saying. Shaky B, bottom lip all swole up with sweet peach, and me explaining how come the sweet potato bread was a dollar quarter this time instead of dollar regular. And he say, uh-huh, he understand. And he break into this uh, drizzling kind of hum, which is quiet, but yes, just the same. If you ain't ready for it, which I wasn't, but I got used to it. And the only time I had to say something about it was when he was playing checkers on the stoop one time. And he commenced to hum and quite church, it seems to me. So I says, look here, Shacky B, I can't beat you and Jesus too. He stopped. So that's how come I asked Mr. Man Bovine to dance. He ain't my man, you. Just a nice old gent from the block that we all knew because he fixes things and the kids like him or used to. So Black Power get hold their minds and mess them around till they can't be civil to old folks. So we had this benefit for my niece's cousin who running for something with this black party something or another behind her. And I pressed up close to dance with Bovine, who blind, and I'm humming and he humming chest to chest, like talking, not jamming my breast into the man, wasn't about about. And he dug up and asked me what color dress I had on and who was at this affair. Uh, but right away, Jolie came up on us and frowned for dancing so close. My own son, who knows what kind of warm I am about, and don't grown men call me long distance in the middle of the night for a little mama. Just a nice old man who fixes toasters and busted irons and bicycles and things. It changes the lock on my door, which is not why they invited him. Grassroots, you see. Me and Sister Taylor and the woman who does heads at Mamie's and the man from the barbershop. We all there on account of the man from the barbershop. And I ain't never been south of than Brooklyn Battery and no more country than the window box on my fire escape. And just yesterday, my kids telling me to take them countrified rags off my head and be cool. And now can't get black enough to suit them. So everybody passes saying, my man Bovine, big deal, keep stepping, and don't even stop a minute to get the man a drink. And him standing there with a smile, ready because someone do speak, ready to be ready. I put him on a dance floor and we dance. All them coats and people standing around and each other face talking. So I'm pressed up close, and here come my daughter, cutting her eyes at me like she do when she tell me about my apologetical self, but I get who's and mouth, and I don't pay her no mind and just look up in Bowling's shadow, laugh real loud, and here comes my youngest, Chaz, with a tap on my elbow like he's the third grade monitor, and I'm cutting up on the line to assemble. I was just talking on the drums. I explained when they hauled me into the kitchen. I figured drums was my best defense. They can get ready for drums. What with all this heritage business? And Boving's stomach just like the drum. Chance gave me what he came back from Africa. You just touch it and it hung thinning, thinning. So I stuck to the drum story. Just drumming, that's all. Mama, what are you talking about? She had too much to drink. Chaz, because don't hardly say nothing to me direct. Look here, Mama, asked Chaz, the gentle one. We're just trying to pull your coat. You were making a spectacle of yourself out there dancing. Chaz ran the hand over his left ear like his father for the world and his father before that. I was going to say, like one of them, I don't answer because I'll cry. Terrible thing when your own children talk to you like that. Dancing with that tune. His feet can smell a cracker a mile away and go into their shuffle number post. Is that what they call the generation gap? I say, generation gap, like I suggested, castor oil and possum in the milkshakes or something. That's a white concept for a white phenomenon. There's no generation gap among black people. We are all cool. Yeah, well, never mind. The point is, Mama, well, it's pride. You embarrass yourself and us too. Yes, I was ashamed. Then nobody said nothing. Them standing there in their pretty dresses, with drinks in their hands, and behind in the third degree chair, felt just like the police got hold of me. First of all, Tad say, holding up his hand and ticking off the offenses. The dress. Now that dress is too short, Mama, and too low, and going to make a speech tonight to kick off the campaign. Me, didn't nobody ask me nothing. You mean she changed her name? Well, no one was supposed to tell you about it. Once to introduce you and then encourage the older folks to form a council of the elders to act as an advisory. And you're going to be standing there with that wig on your head. And people say, and Taz getting to the next finger. And then there's the drinking. You've been tattooed. What's my age? What? All a simple question. You keep talking about what's proper for women my age. How old am I anyhow? And Taz run a hand over his ear and stare into his glass. Is your hair braided up like that? 60. Joe Lee Peoples. That's another thing, said Taz. You know what? Oh, mama, putting a hand on my shoulder like she hasn't done since she left home. Didn't nobody tell me nothing. It's grassroots, means you kept in the dark. I can't use it, I really can't. And Ravine Trent tore into the widow man up there. Look here, said Chaz. What we need is a family conference so we can get all this stuff cleared up and laid out on the table. In the meantime, I think we better get back into the other room and tend to business. In the meantime, Mama, see if you can get to Reverend Trent. You want me to belly up? We'll talk about all this at dinner. House tomorrow night. Then Joe and Free and go and get a corsage. Causing you just to look at the pots. Then the door swung the other way, and it's Bovine standing there saying, Miss Hazel been looking at the deep fry and then at the sing table and surprised when I came up on him. Past the folks pushing. Where we going, Miss Hazel? Him knowing all the time. First, gonna buy some sunglasses. Then going to the market. That'll be fine. I surely would like to rest my feet. And I'm thinking I'll have him change the lock on my door first thing. Then I give then a cup of lemon tea and a little tackle. And then a good face because you got to take care of the older folks. And the school for the little kids and the campaign and all. Because old folks is the nation. That's what Nisi was saying. And I mean to do my part. I imagine you are a very pretty woman, Miss Hazel. I surely am. I say just like my daughter always say I was. Wait 1 second. I'm switching up. Are you my sunshine? You see it? So she spells sunshine SON instead of SUN, like as in her first child, which is a son, sunshine. When you fall down, I will be there to pick you up. I will kiss your boo boo and band-aid you up. When you are scared, I will ease your fears. Scared of the ghost. When you need to talk, I will always be there to listen. When you not want to talk, I will wait for you to be ready to talk. You ever be like that, Tally Ann? It take you a minute to want to say what you gotta say. Yeah, it's just
Sometimes,
huh?
sometimes.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Sometimes you just have to think it all out. You are the most important thing in my life. I will always be in your corner. When you are happy, I am happy. When you are sad, I am sad. You are a part of me. I promise I will always try to make you happy. When life knocks you down, life knocks us down because I am on this walk of life with you. We will figure it out together and walk hand in hand. When you succeed, I succeed. You can be whatever and whoever you want to be. Do not let anyone ever tell you anything different. We are a team, and no one can come between us. We will laugh together, cry together, and smile together. But most importantly, we will love each other. After we have finished our day apart, we will come home and talk together. We share stories over dinner and playtime. That's always nice family time, eating together. Then, when your day is over and you are ready for bed, I will be right there. I will turn the light off in your room and kiss you goodnight. But the light that you have in my heart will shine forever. You are my sunshine. That was it. On that one, did you have something else to read?
Yes.
Okay.
Next we're gonna be reading Fly Guy in the Aliens by Ted Arnold. A boy had a pet fly. He named him Fly Guy. Fly Guy could say the boy's name. Buzz. Chapter 1. One day Buzz said, "Hey, Fly Guy, I'm making a movie. Buzz. It will be about aliens," said Buzz. Aliens. Fly Guy and the Aliens. Aliens are guys that come from space, said Buzz. Birds. No, silly, said Buzz. They look like this. I drew them and cut them out and glued them on sticks like puppets. This is you and me, said Buzz. I made us a cool fort. And here's an alien riding on its awesome Soul Gold spaceship. Buzz set up the camera and said, "Quiet on the set and action." Then he started telling a story. Season 1. One day in the future, said Buzz, Fly Guy and Buzz Boy were flying around. They are guarding the secret hero fort. An alien spaceship stuck up behind Fly Guy and Buzz Boy. The aliens turned on their ray beam, and the ray beam pulled the heroes into the spaceship. Inside the spaceship, all the aliens jumped on top of Buzz Boy and tied him up. The aliens were so busy they didn't see Fly Guy escape. Season 2. Fly Guy flew back to the spaceship hero to get help. Their pal Dragon Dude come out and shot fireballs at the spaceship. Boom, boom. The Soul spaceship was fireproof. But the fireballs made aliens mad. They crushed the secret fort, the secret hero fort. Fly Guy was trapped inside the secret hero fort. The aliens jumped on top of Dragon Dude. They tried to tie him up, but it wasn't easy. Season 3. Suddenly, Fly Girl arrived. The aliens were busy with Dragon Dude. They didn't see her rescue Fly Guy from the secret hero fort. Fly Guy and Fly Girl flew around the alien very fast. The alien shot at them with a fly shooter. They missed and hit each other instead. Then no one was looking for space. A space pirate came and stole the Soul Gold spaceship. Arr! They took it back to their creepy pirate planet. Arr! Without a ship, the aliens were stuck on Earth. They surrounded and joined the superhero team. Fly Guy and Fly Girl and all the superheroes protect the Earth happily ever after. The end, said Buzz Boy. Oops, said Buzz. Buzz Boy is still tied up on the Soul Gold ship, but that's the pirates took. Good thing we thought of that, Sly Guy. We need to make a movie settle. We must rescue Buzz Boy. Yes. Okay, said Buzz, quiet on the set and action. The end.
That was it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Give me tell me something about the characters and some of the main parts of the story.
Well, oopsie. Well, this story is about Fly Guy and aliens. I know some of y'all gonna ask me, how can a person have a fly as a pet? Well, you can't, because this is not true. Well, basically, he actually made a whole fort. As you can see, he's trying to make a fort. And he do crayons and stuff. So he made up a fly. He made up the what they be have for the movie. That's what he had. He had Fly Guy and the aliens. So he used his phone to make the movie, and he made aliens out of popsicle sticks and he drew aliens. But he has a very good draw too. So he used a flashlight as a spaceship and hold the popsicle sticks on the back so they could ride it. But he cut the flashlight on to seem like Fly Guy and Buzz Boy was going inside the flashlight so they could tie Buzz Boy up. But they really did not know that Fly Guy had escaped. Because they was too busy trying to tie Buzz Boy up. So Buzz Boy went to go get Dragon Dude. He shoot fireballs at the spaceship, but the spaceship was fireball approved. So they tried to tie the dragon up, but it probably took them for hours, but it was not easy to tie him up. But Fly Guy, he was stuck upon the superhero form. So Fly Girl came and tried and rescued Fly Guy. So Fly Girl and Fly Guy saw the aliens had these fly swipers shooters, but instead they tried to hit the fly, but instead they end up hitting each other. So a pirate ship out of space came and took the aliens spaceship, but they really did not know that Buzzbug was still in there tied up, so he couldn't get out. But the only way they're gonna have to get Buzzbug back if they have to go to a creepy planet. And so when they went to do that, they said that the three aliens had joined the secret hero team. Then Fly Guy and Fly Girl and all the secret heroes protected the Earth happily ever after. Then they made another scene trying to get Buzzboy back.
Okay, so Fly Guy and Fly Girl was on the same side in the store.
Mm-hmm.
And Buzz Boy was on the opposite side.
Yes, ma'am.
And then the aliens, well, what role did the three aliens play?
They played the bad side.
Oh, and they were trying to do what?
They were trying to capture Fly Guy and Buzz Boy and put them on their spaceship and go back to their land.
Oh, I see. And they were saved by who?
Ma'am?
Who saved Buzz Boy and Fly Guy from the aliens?
Well, Buzz Boy, he wasn't saved because he was still on the spaceship, but Fly Girl had saved, no, Dragon Dude had saved Fly Guy. Then Fly Guy had got stuck up on the secret hero fort. Then and Fly Girl had came and saved him.
Oh, okay, I understand now. Well, thank you for explaining that to me.
You're welcome.
Okay, so this is I want to get another one. As Brave as You by Jason Reynolds. Okay. One. Poop. Poop is stupid. Stupid poop. Stupid. Poop. Poopidity is poopidity a word? Jenny stood a few feet away from Samantha's shabby old dog house, scribbling a mess of words in his notebook. His older brother, Ernie, was luring the mute to a clear spot in the yard with a big pot of leftover chicken, bacon, grits, greens, and whatever else was for doggy breakfast. That's funny. Okay, that should keep her busy for a few minutes, Ernie said successfully. He walked over to the side of Grandma and Grandpa's house, grabbed a rusty shovel, then came back to Jenny and started scooping up crusty piles of dog poop. What I want to know is what you about to do with that mess, Jenny asked, pinching and pulling his shirts out of his butt. Mom must not have noticed how much he had grown since the year before. when she packed all his old summer clothes. If you put that notebook down, you'll see, Ernie said, holding the shovel out and walking toward the back of the house where all the trees were. When he got close enough to the wood line, he looked over his shoulder. Jenny shoved the small notebook into his back pocket. You watching? Ernie called out, making sure all eyes were on him. Jenny hustled over. Yeah. Ernie flashed a sly grin, one that worked perfectly with his dark shades. Then, without giving any kind of warning, he cocked the shovel back and flung it forward. The flute, I'm sorry, the poop flew into the air and out into the woods, snapping against the trees and exploding. Oh yeah, Ernie cheered, holding his shovel up as if he had just scored a touchdown. Jenny gasped, his mouth falling open as Ernie came back to scoop up even more crude. You just gonna stand there or you going to get in on this? Ernie asked. She pointed to the other shovel leaning against the side of the house. No way, said Jenny, going to miss out on slinging poop. On poop hitting. No way. How often does anybody get to catapult into a forest? Never, Jenny ran and grabbed the other shovel. Get this one, Ernest said, grabbing at a gross mound, still stinking. Jenny grimaced, but he slid the shovel under the poop, grimaced again at the scratchy sound of metal on dirt, then lifted it and followed Ernie back to the tree line. Go for it, Ernie said, nodding. Jenny put one foot forward, holding the shovel as if it was a baseball bat, and he was about to attempt the worst bunt in history. He whipped the shovel forward, but not nearly hard enough. The poop popped down only about a foot away. It was a pretty sad throw, and it was way too close to being a situation where poop was splattered all over Jenny's Converse. Those are her tennis shoes. Yeah, they were already covered in dust. But dust is one thing, even mud he could handle. But dog poop, there is no coming back from that. The things that you do. You're gonna fling it, Jenny. Fling it. Ernie demonstrated with a few ghost flings. You see that tree over there? Jenny looked out at all the trees in front of them and wondered which one Ernie was talking about. It was pretty much a forest. Trees were everywhere, and Ernie wasn't really pointing at any one in particular. He just said, that tree over there, as if one of the trees had been marked with a sign that said, this tree, dummy. But Ernie wasn't always on him about asking too many questions, so Jenny just nodded. Watch and learn, young grasshopper. Ernie held the shovel low, letting it hang behind him before hurling its contents into the woods. It splashed against a tree. Perfect shot. It must have been the one Ernie was aiming for because he threw his hands up in celebration again. Bang, bang, get it. He hollered. Now try it again. Jenny picked up another clump, questions flying all over the place like these flies on the infinity. Why was there so much of it in the forest in the first place? Did nobody else care that there was mess all over the yard? When was the last time the yard had been poop scooped? Jenny tried to mimic Ernie every move. He held the shovel low, let it drop back behind him a little so that he could get some good momentum. We're talking technique here, sophisticated stuff. Aim for that old house back there, Ernie said, pointing into the woods. Jenny focused and counted out. 1, 2, and on 3, he slung his whole body, a kind of broke down golf swing, the mess whipping from the shovel. Jenny definitely gets some air on it this time, but he hadn't quite figured out how to aim it. Ernie left that part out. The poop zipped off behind him, slamming into a window in the back of the house. The wrong house, his grandparents' house. Jenny, Ernest shouted, his eyes bugging, and right after that came Grandma. Jenny, she called out. Ernie, what in Sam Hill are you doing? Grandma was the one who put Ernie and Jenny on poop patrol in the first place. In case you were wondering, neither one of them ever had to shovel poop out of anybody's yard before. Because first of all, in Brooklyn, most people don't have yards. And secondly, most Brooklyn folks just pick it up with plastic bags wherever a dog does his due on the sidewalk. Not everybody, but the majority. But there were no sidewalks here in North Hill, Virginia. No brownstones with the cement stoops where you could watch the buses, ice cream trucks, and taxis ride by. Nope. North Hill, Virginia was country, like country. And Jenny and Ernie were staying there in a small white house on the top of a hill, Grandma and Grandpa's house, for a month, like 30 whole days. That's funny that the grandparents had to scoop it up too. But that would just remind me when I was a little girl, my grandmother had a flower garden in Kosciuszko, Mississippi, a small town. And she used to have us to walk across the street to the pasture to get manure, which comes from cows, right? To bring over to her flower garden because the manure would help the flowers grow real uh, pretty. It was like fertilizer. But anyway, they're in North Hill, Virginia. The boys had arrived 2 nights earlier after a long, cramped ride in the back of their dad's old Honda. Cramped, at least for Jenny, because Ernie is a cheeseburger cover, had stitched out on the back seats as if it were his own personal couch, forcing Jenny to be smushed against the window. Hold 1 second, I'll be right back. Okay, Charlie. Charlie.
Ma'am.
Because you got something to read. This will be our last one. And I'm gonna start on this one tomorrow. If you can come tomorrow.
Okay. I got King Jason, the mystery of UFO by David A. Anderson.
Hold it up while I'm gonna type it in the chat. Oh, Cam. I heard him. Wait a minute.
Yeah,
Cam Jensen. What else?
The mystery of the UFO.
Okay, I get it.
Chapter 1. One cold November afternoon, Kim Jackson and her friend Eric Sheldon were walking through town. Eric wanted to enter an photography contest. Cam was helping him looking for something to photograph. Cam picked up a crumbled potato chip bag from the street and held it over a litter basket. Take my picture, she said. You can call it a local girl cleaning up. I can't take a pose picture, Eric told her. You know the rules. Eric reached into his pocket and took out a page torn from a notebook newspaper. Here it is, Eric said, pointing to the page. Rule 3. I know the rules, Cam said. Cam closed her eyes and said, click. She always said click when she wanted to remember something. My mind is a melted camera, Cam form explained, and cameras goes click. Announcing our first junior news photograph contest, Cam said. Her eyes were still closed. Cam said her eyes were still closed. Grand prize, $100 into a rule. 1. Only 21 old and under may enter. As Cam talked, Eric looked at the contest announcer in the newspaper. 2. Photograph must be black and white. No, and 3. Photographs must be of local interesting. They must not be posed. And 4. All entries must be received no later than November 30. You did it, Eric said. You got everything, everywhere right. People said Cam had a photographer member. Excuse me. They meant Cam could remember to enter scene when Cam wanted to remember something, even a detail such as how many bunches were on someone's coat. She just looked at the photograph stored in her brain. Cam's real name is Jefferson, but people start calling her the camera because of her photograph memory and she says click so often. Soon the camera was starting to Cam. Now Cam said her eyes were still closed. I'm going to say the rules backwards. 13, November, then later, no receipt. B, must enter all 4 poses. B. Enough, Eric said. Yours going too fast. I can't keep up. Cam opened her eyes. How did you do that? Eric said. I have a picture of the rules in my mind. I just read it. I just read it from it. Cam put her books and lunch box down. It's cold, she said. Cam closed the top of her coat. She pulls down the covered cap she was wearing until it covers the top of her ear. And it was getting dark, Eric said. I'm not going to find anything to photograph now. Let's go home. Eric puts his camera back in his case. I'm never around when anything happens, he complains. And it'll bet if I am around. Enter, I won't have a camera or I will out of films. Or, Cam said, you'll forget to take them lead caps off. Cam and Eric often spent time each together. They were in the same 5th grade class and lived next door to each other. If it wasn't for her hair, Cam's mother often teased, I don't think you and Egg were twins. Cam had what people call brilliant red hair. Even thought it wasn't more orange than red. Eric's hair was dark brown. Cam and Eric started walking home. They walked past a row of small stores at the edge of a shopping mall. Then they stopped at the corner and waited for the traffic light to change. Meow. Cam and Eric looked up. A gray and white kitten was high in a tree. The branch she was standing on was shaking. The kitten took a step towards the end of the branch. The branch shook even more. Meow. I think she wants to come down, Eric said, but she doesn't know how. Cam opened her lunchbox. I have a part of a tuna fish in here. Maybe I can get the kitten to come down. Cam reached up and put a piece of tuna fish on the part of the branch close to the trunk. The kitten saw the food and turned around carefully, and the branch shook, but the kitten didn't fall. She walked down the branch and ate the tuna fish. Cam reached out for the kitten. Eric was holding his camera, smiling. He stared and he took a picture just as the kitten jumped into Cam's arms. It's caused the picture local girl says until Phil. Cam turned to put the kitten down. Then she stopped. She heard a noise across the street. People were shouting and pointing. Cam looked to see what they were pointing at. In the distance, Cam and Eric was floating in green, yellow, blue, and red lights. The light seems to brush against one of the trees at the edge of the park. Cam looked straight in the light and said, click. Chapter 2. Eric made his camera at the light. He pressed the shutter button and the camera went click. The lights were risking, but they wasn't going straight up. They were moving from side to side and up and down. It almost seems that the wind was moving the lights. Eric aimed his camera again. He pressed the shutter button, click, and he pressed it once more, click. I'm not sure I'm doing this right, Eric said. It's getting dark and the lights are going far away. I hope at least one picture comes out. Cam wasn't really listening. She was watching the lights. I've seen lights in the sky before, she said, but they were just from helicopters or airplanes or fireworks. I don't know what these are. Let's go over there, Eric said, pointing to the parking lot. Maybe those people know. Cam put the kitten down and Cam was picking up her books and she heard the kitten The cat cried. The cat was up in the tree again. The cat doesn't seem to learn, Cam said. The last time she was up there, she fed her some tuna fish, Eric said. The cat learned if she climbs a tree, she'll get something to eat. Cam opened her lunchbox where all of I have is time is bread. Cam reached up and puts the bread on the branch. The kid turns around carefully and she came down the branch and ate the bread. I'm going to hold on to you, Cam said, as she puts the kid in her coat pocket. If I don't, you'll just climb the tree again. Cam and Eric crossed the street. The people in the brilliant lit parking lot were all looking up as some kids were taking photographs. A man and a woman were looking through pairs of photograms. Six lights, no 7. The man said, 3 green lights, 2 yellow, and 1 blue, and 2 red. There are 8. I have to get these right if I'm going to write it down. The man was wearing a big open shoulder bag, a notebook, and a book called Bird's Watch Guide were sticking out. I got it, the man said as he pushed the biology in his bag. 7 flying lights, you said. We seen anything, he told the woman next to him. But you were wrong. We've seen a red, black sand panther in a buckle head and no sway. And now this is the woman that puts her buckle into her too in case. It was a sandpaper, she said. It was a gold plover. The old swell you thought we saw was a pintail. And there are 8 lights up there, not 7. Cam and Eric could hardly see the lights. Now they were just a tiny dot of colors. Can I look through those, Cam? Asked the woman. The woman took the bottle out of the case and handed them to Cam. Cam could see why the couple had trouble counting the lights. Sometimes one would move away, while they move in a different direction. Sometimes one light moves behind the other and could not be seen at all. Cam also saw lines like thin wire pointing down from each light. Cam looked straight at the lights and said, click. Let me see, Eric said, just a minute. The lights were floating up and Cam looked carefully at just one light, a blue one. At first, Cam threw it was around, but it wasn't. It was shaped like an egg with and points at the bottom. Cam looked straight at the light and said, click. Then lights flow into a cloud and Cam could see them anymore. They're gone, Cam told Eric. Then she returned the bottle to the woman. Are there 7 lights up there or 8? The woman asked. I'm not sure. The lights kept moving and disappearing. They are hard to count. Well, there are 8, the woman said. I'm sure. Eric pulls on Cam's sleeve, and I have 1 picture left. What should it be? Cam was going to tell Eric to photo of the crop, but Eric yelled, I'm got it. Don't move. Eric bent down and took a picture of the kid was leaning out of Cam. And the pocket and eating from someone's bag. of groceries. Cam pulled away the can and left back into her pocket. Some food was still in the kitten's mouth. Well, that's it, Eric said. I hope nothing else happens. I'm out of films. Look, someone's in the crowd yelling, more lights. Well, that's all I'm gonna read for today. Tomorrow I'm gonna read chapter 3 since it's a long book.
Okay, well, very good. That was a good stopping point. Anyway, my book was so funny. Now tell me, oh, you hadn't finished, so you can't tell me the mystery of the UFO yet, because you only read one chapter.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then. All right. Well, thanks for reading with me, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. And too, will have a great evening.
Okay, you too.
All right. Thank you, Talia.
You're welcome.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.